Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I did this makeup because I plan to do all my intros for the videos that I filmed for September today. So it is the same day, it is the same makeup, same shirt, same everything. I'm just recording all my intros today. If you want to see how I installed this here, it's not sewn onto my head anymore. I took it out and turned it into a wig. Unfortunately, I did not record that, but it is a wig right now. I had to because I feel like I need to wash my hair properly, or it like starts to itch, or I feel like my hair smells. So it was sewn in for like 3 weeks. I was trying to keep it in for a month, but I could not make it. I couldn't do it. I don't know how people do it. You guys are the real MVPs if you keep your hair in for longer than a month. I just couldn't do it. So I took it out and I made it into a wig, which was more convenient for me because I still get the style that I was going for, but I have the option of taking it off and washing my hair properly, rebraiding it, and all of that good stuff. So if you want to see how I installed a lace frontal sew-in with 4 bundles of hair, I should tell you a little bit about the hair. I bought the frontal and the 4 bundles from AliExpress, and I will leave all that information below where I purchased the hair from. I'm sorry I'm looking down, I'm just getting the stuff that came with it. I believe this is the company that I bought the bundles from. I can't really remember, and this is the company I bought my closure from. So the closure came by itself with these lashes, and you guys know I don't really wear lashes. If you've been following me for a while, I don't really wear lashes, but I think I'm gonna try to start getting into it. And then I got 4 bundles of hair, and I'm dropping shit. And the hair came with these lashes. Now these are crazy dramatic. I don't know if I would ever wear them. I'll think about it. Because like I said, I'm not really a lash girl. If you guys want me to do a review on this hair, I will. Just let me know down in the comment section. If you want to see how I installed a lace frontal with 4 bundles of hair, then keep on watching. Alright, so this is what the hair looks like just out of the package. I have not bleached the knots yet. So it is pre-tweezed, so I didn't have to do much tweezing. This is what the hair looks like. My 4 bundles. I believe I have an 18, 20, 22, and 24 inches, and my closure is 16 inches. That is the developer that I'm using and the bleach. And I'm just going to mix them together and apply it to my frontal so that I can start bleaching my knots. Lay back and feast as this audio guides you through new and exciting. Now there are a ton of tutorials on YouTube that go into great detail on how to bleach your knots. I'm not a professional. This is maybe my 2nd time doing this, so I just sort of sped it up, but I just wanted you guys to see my process. And I'm gonna show you the consistency of what it looks like before I apply it to my frontal. I am not making it too runny. I want it to be thick so that it won't seep through the closure too much. So now I'm going to start applying it to my closure, and I'm just dabbing it on. I'm not really pressing it in because I don't want to bleach the hairs, and I kind of sort of bleach some of the hairs, but it's not that noticeable. It actually makes it look a little bit more natural. I was kind of worried when I washed it out that I may have like bleached it too much, but it was fine. After applying the bleach to the closure, I'm going to set it aside so that it can process. And while it's processing, I'm going to proceed with washing my bundles. I use the Pantene 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, and I really freaking love that stuff. I use it on my natural hair as well. It's amazing. Once I'm done washing the hair and the frontal, I'm gonna let it dry overnight. And once it's dry, I'm going to apply a elastic to the closer so that it fits tight on my head and lays flat. Once I've done that, I'm just going to find my first braid right by my ear. I'm going to tie the rest of my hair away, make sure it's secure and out of the way. Then I'm going to secure the lace closure onto my head, so that way when I'm sewing it, it doesn't shift and move out of place. So that's what you see me doing here. So I'm gonna slow it down a little bit so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm just making sure it's lined up correctly, and then I'm gonna start sewing from the back of the closure. I'm not starting from the front because the thread has a knot at the end of it, and I don't want that to be seen should the wind blow my hair. So I'm starting from the back, and I'm going to sew all the way forward, and then I'm going to sew back to the back of the closure because I want to make sure that it's secure on my braid. Since I'm only sewing it down, I want to make sure that it's not going anywhere and it fits perfectly to my head. So let me just say, this is my first time sewing in a closure. I've sewn in weaves before, but I've never done a lace frontal before or a lace closure before on as a sew-in, only a wig. So this is very new for me. I am a beginner. This is my first time doing it, and I'm just figuring it out as I go along because I couldn't find a lot of tutorials on people doing lace frontal on themselves. I've seen other people do it on someone else, but never on themselves. I think I've maybe seen like 1 or 2 videos. So I'm pretty much just winging it, trying to figure it out as I go along. So like I said, I'm stitching it all the way to the front of the braid, not to the complete front because I don't want to tug on my edges too much. And then I'm going to go back towards the back of the closure and just make sure that is really secure onto that first braid. Then I'm going to stitch the closure onto the braid next to that first braid. So the second braid, I'm going to stitch it to that as well. I'm doing this because I want it to be secure and no one is gonna see the stitching there because I'm never gonna part my hair that low on my head. So I'm just securing it there to make sure that this closure goes nowhere and it lays flat. So I found the second braid and now I'm repeating the same process as what I did with the first braid. I'm stitching it from the back towards the front and then back again just to make sure it lays flat and it is secure. And don't worry if the hair gets caught in between the thread. You can just use your comb once you're done and just pick it out, and that kind of helps to hide the stitches as well because the hair is covering it. So you don't really have to worry about it being shown with the stitches right there in the front.
Can't be sleeping, keep on waking, without the woman next to me. Guilt is burning, inside I'm hurting, same feeling I can keep.
Once I've done that, I'm just going to repeat the same process on the other side of my head. I'm going to stitch on the first 2 braids on the side of my head closest to my ear. just so it is secure. I haven't sewn down the back as yet. I'm saving that for the very last bit because I want to make sure the sides are good first and everything is laying flat before I sew the back of the closure down. So I'm just knotting it here, and then I'm going to go over to the other side of my head and do the same process of stitching down the lace frontal. Once I finish stitching down both sides, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut that extra lace off that's hanging on the side of my head because the closure was a little bit too long for my head. I didn't want to cut it before I sewed it down because I didn't want to cut it too short and then I would not be able to get that back. So I waited until I sewed everything down on the sides and then I cut the lace hanging on the sides. Now I'm going to start stitching the back. So I'm going to start from one end and I'm going to pull it tightly so that it cannot shift and move around or be loose on the top of my head. And then I'm going to start stitching it all the way across until I get to the other side.
Let me show you how to do it. Let me take a selfie.
Once I finish stitching the entire back part of the lace to my head, I'm going to just check to make sure that it is secure and as snug as I want it to be on my head so that it doesn't lift up or look unnatural. I'm just gonna make sure, and now is the time to make any adjustments. If you need to stitch it down a little bit tighter, then you can go ahead and do that. Now is the time to do that before you cut that front lace off. So I checked mine once I was done and it was secure. I didn't show the footage of me cutting the lace off because I was out of frame for the entire process of me cutting the lace off. So I didn't bother to include it because it would just have been a video of the side of my face for like 2 minutes. So I didn't include that. But once I was done and it was secure, I proceeded to cut the extra lace off in the front. And this here already had like a little bit of baby hair, so I didn't really need to cut any. This is what the lace frontal looks like sewn onto my head, and I started sewing in my bundles. I didn't record this whole process because there's tons of videos for that. So this is what it looks like so far, and you guys know the end result. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It would help me out so much. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.